Hi, my name is Brianna Musto, and I am responding to critical race theory presentation. Up until I started studying race specifically in this class, I still struggled as a biracial person. I am half Japanese and half white, and I have always felt that I should identify with either one or the other. It becomes very confusing as a person because I'm not one or the other. I am both, and the racial identity development theory has helped me embrace myself as being both races. Not so much now, but when I was younger, I specifically remember questions where you would have to check a box to identify what race you are, and there wasn't really ever any options to choose other or two or more like there are now. I would sit there for like 5 minutes and struggle with which box to check, and I usually checked white because I thought that that was the right answer. I think in my undergrad, after high school, I really started to delve into who I am, my culture, and what box I should check on all the questionnaires, and what box was fair to both of my races. As a child and teenager, I always identified as white. I attended a predominantly white school in a white neighborhood, and my dad was white. My mother was not very cultural as well. However, it never sat well with me because I wasn't blonde haired or light eyed like a lot of my white classmates. Um, I remember in elementary school one kid specifically who was horrible. He was a quarter Japanese and 3/4 white, and he would always call me chink or slant-eyed, and I was always so confused because, he was the same race as I was, part of him as well. So it was just always really weird for me. I think that this was really the point in where I started realizing I was different and started identifying with my race more. To be honest, I really don't feel that I have ever experienced institutionalized racism. I've heard about it and I've studied it, but I have never personally witnessed it. I think that institutionalized racism is individuals being treated unfairly by institutions. People have less of an people having less of an advantage when it comes to housing, school opportunities, job opportunities, politically, and wealth disbursement because of their race specifically or the color of their skin. I feel that I have not experienced institutionalized racism because, as I said previously, I grew up in a predominantly white upper middle class neighborhood, and my parents both had good jobs. I remember talking to kids in my class about race and my race specifically, and they would tell me, you're different, but you're mostly white. Your dad's white, and so I just thought, they're right, I'm white. And I think a lot of people don't know what I am when they first meet me. They are not sure what category or race to place me in because I do have dark hair, I have dark eyes, but I don't have a dark skin tone. I'm fairly light complected, and I do have more round eyes than most Asian cultures or people do. So I think it gets confusing for people when they try to categorize me. And I do think that that was a privilege for me, and that helped me to avoid institutional racism because I am light complected, and I did go to a predominantly white school, and I grew up wealthy, and I didn't have a lot of oppression because of it, and I am thankful for that privilege, and it's probably something that I've taken advantage of, not intentionally, but just because I was not well educated on institutionalized privilege. I feel that those who have experienced institutional racism in adolescence will develop a poor sense of self. They will have poor self-esteem and difficulty viewing themselves positively. And Erikson's identity versus role confusion stage, which happens during adolescence, individuals are really discovering who they are and who they're going to become. They really value relationships with peers and role models, and it's very much about their social lives. And so I think that if, they have an experience where they feel less than or not worthy because of the color of their skin, then they too are going to embrace that. And they may not be able to accomplish things because they feel that they'll always be treated differently because of the color of their skin. They then may become withdrawn from peers and form poor social relationships, setting them up for many hurdles to overcome in later adolescence and adulthood. And this essentially continues the cycle of oppression. I feel that as social workers, we need to educate on institutional racism. In the article, Critical Race Theory, Opportunities for Application in Social Work Practice and Policy, it states social workers are also trained in culturally competent practice. Therefore, we should be well positioned to address racism's role in maintaining social problems that disproportionately impact people of color. I feel that when people think of racism, they think of racism between one person toward another. If more people realize that racism really stems from institutional racism, they may be more inclined to make a difference in society. I think that one person cannot directly make a change by themselves, that it takes a group of people to really make a change and a difference in society. I feel that as social workers, we need to educate society and people through our cultural competency to promote self-determination and to really make people who are feeling institutional racism feel that they have society and people on their side because we're educated and able to help them. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.